In my last video, I talked about my trip, my first business trip with the Navy was to San Diego. 23-year-old kid. And I forgot the coolest part of that whole trip was getting to go in the actual Navy shipyard and to go on board a ship that was being built. Very cool. So this was 1985, I'm going to guess around July. And the San Diego Shipyard had been working on converting two huge oil tankers, gutting them, and building hospital ships. So at that time, they actually had two of them under construction. The first one was the Mercy, the USNS Mercy. So they told us, at one of our business meetings, they said, okay, tomorrow we're going to actually take you out into the dry dock and you'll get to go on board the ship. So you need to make sure that you wear slacks and tennis shoes because you don't want to be going up those open stairways in a skirt. No. These things were huge. I'll add some pictures in this so you can see what it looked like. I found some great footage, or rather photographs from the National Archives. But this thing was ginormous, and it was still under construction. I think it was actually commissioned the next year in '86, the Mercy was. And then the Comfort was in the process of being gutted. So it was at the early stages of converting from a ginormous oil tanker to become this hospital ship. So the oil tankers sit real up high in the water. And then to convert them to a hospital ship, they added additional decks on top. So being in a dry dock, if you're not familiar with that, they actually, they'll float the boat into kind of like they park it in a walled off area, for lack of a better description. So the boat goes into this walled off area, and then they close a wall behind the boat, and then they pump all the water out. And they put support structures underneath the hull. So as the water is removed from this area, the ground becomes dry, hence the dry dock, and the boat now is sitting, or the ship rather, boats or submarines, the ship is now sitting on these support structures inside this dry dock area. So they are just massive. And being up, actually on the upper deck, now they were still building out all the interior stuff. They had some of the operating rooms built, a lot of the patient care centers. But it was just fascinating just to see all the things that they were doing and be on board the Mercy while it was being constructed in 1985. At the time, I knew it was cool, but with all the stuff that's happened since then and the places that these two ships have been in the world to support humanitarian missions, the Mercy tends to stay on the west coast and service that area of the world, and then the Comfort services the eastern part and in the Caribbean. So we're up on the deck, the upper deck of the Mercy, where they would have the helipad, and looking across to our right, you could see the dry dock where the Comfort was in the early stages of being built. It was just so cool to see that what I was standing on, this hospital ship that was getting really close to completion, had once been like that big, ugly skeleton of an oil tanker. It was just really cool. The one thing that I regret was the commander there. He said that oftentimes if they have a ship that's ready to go out and for sea trials, obviously before when a ship comes into dry dock for maintenance, if it's a ship that's been coming and going, prior to them actually putting a full crew on and sending it back out on a mission, they'll take it out for a sea trial to make sure that all the things that they did are working properly at sea, and they'll actually allow contractors to go with them. So it's like, oh, that'd be so cool. I would love to do that, as long as it's not a submarine. I think I would lose my mind in one of those. I've been aboard one, and I would definitely lose my mind if I was on board a submarine and it went underwater. Yeah, that's a special kind of person that's able to do that, and I am not that person. But anyways, he said, yeah, if you come back the next time, we'll try to schedule it so you can go out on a sea trial. I was like, oh, I'd love that. Well, unfortunately never happened. But I did get to go on board the USNS Mercy prior to its commissioning, and I got to see the Comfort while it was still in the early stages, and that was a very cool experience. So I don't know why I didn't think about that when I was talking last night about the exploding ketchup. Funny that that was the first thing that came to mind. But after we finished our time with San Diego Shipyard, we had one more stop before we left California. So we have one more Navy base to visit, and I'll talk about that tomorrow because there were two interesting things and it would make this video way too long, but that will be a fun one, trust me. So that's all for now. Take care and God bless.